One, it's 6 p.m. on February the 3rd, 2026. The next date and posted time for the meeting of the Cleveland County Board of Commissioners. This time I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, we have a quorum.
Yes, sir, we have a quorum.
This time I recognize Commissioner Berry, who's going to lead tonight's pledge and give tonight's invocation.
Stand with me, please. Place the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that you give us to come together tonight. Thank you for each and every person that's here, whether that person is a citizen with interest just to come and be with us tonight. We thank you for all of our department heads, leaders that are here. We thank you for the board that we're allowed to serve on. And our job is here to work for each and every person and citizen in this county to your likings. Father, thank you for protecting us during this very unusual weather that we've had lately. And thank you for all the first responders and many others that got out and cleaned the roads and did a variety of things to make Cleveland County a safe place to live. We appreciate the speakers that have come tonight to speak in front of us. We ask that you allow us to learn and that to be a blessing to us. I ask all this in your son Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Tony. Next, we'll recognize any elected officials present. Next, we'll recognize any veterans.
David Cochran, United States Navy.
Johnny Hudson, U.S. Army. We have any out there?
All right, thank you, guys. Next, we'll recognize law enforcement that's present.
Danny Howe, Cleveland County Sheriff's Office.
Michael Myers, Shelby Police Department.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all you do. And next, we'll recognize any county department heads.
Chris Warren, Planning Director.
And Health and Services,
Logan Roberts, Staff Attorney. Bill Stephen, Planning.
Rebecca Johnson, Social Services.
All right, thank you, guys. All right, first item of business is to adopt the proposed agenda before us. We've all been presented this as part of our packets. So I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I hear none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. As Tony mentioned earlier, next we have two presentations tonight. We look forward to hearing both of these. First, I'll recognize Mr. Dane Willis, President of Operations for Ames Copper Group.
So thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I know some of you, and some of you been in the factory over there on Old Bowling Springs Road. So I first thought I might need to be careful coming up here. It may be a trap. I see police officers here. You guys, someone may decide to arrest me for blocking traffic on Old Bowling Springs Road. So
All right, we're gonna help you as much as we
we'll
can.
talk a little bit about what we're doing to rectify that situation. But first, what I'd like to do, I got a limited amount of time here, is to give you, we're working on brand videos for the plant. You have the Ames Copper Group on the left, IMC are the two buildings on the right. I wanna play you a brand here for the Ames, and then you'll soon see this on social media for IMC as well. So this will give you an idea of what's going on inside the factories.
Driven by innovation, grounded in expertise, and powered by a dedicated team. At Ames Copper Group, we don't just produce copper, we advance for copper. Copper is the backbone of the modern world, powering everything from energy and infrastructure to the technology we rely on every day. At Ames Copper Group, we believe in a smarter, cleaner, and more sustainable path forward, not by digging deeper into the earth, but by looking at what is already here. At our advanced facility in Shelby, North Carolina,
We take recycled copper scrap and transform it into high-quality, usable materials that fuel industries across North America.
We've got the plant here, you're gonna see the first copper smelter placed in the United States in the last 75 years. It's been one of the days that's been surrounded by this beautiful raw material that some folks call scrap. We'll take this scrap and refine it and purify that into an anode, about 99.5% pure copper. The factory here has the capability to melt about 100 million pounds a year, so somewhere between 9 and 10 million pounds a month.
Our mission is simple and powerful: to strengthen America's supply chain, protect the environment, and drive sustainable innovation in every step of the process.
We're interested in being as environmentally friendly as we possibly can. What we do at the Fuel Treatment Plant is take all of the hydrocarbons, any acidic gas, heavy metal freight, we filter all of these things out, and we can get clean air to the environment. And to verify that, we're on a test plan with North Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Quality. They come out, set up equipment to test the content of the gas released from our clean air stack. That gives us an internal certainty that the process we're implementing is environmentally friendly.
One of the core beliefs of Ames Copper Group is we're a family-owned business, and we run the operation like a family-owned business. We want your ideas, we want your involvement, we want you to be part of our culture, part of our family.
As you identify opportunities or things that you're interested in, you need to let your team lead, your supervisor know that you're interested in whatever that may be, right? So that they can get promoted into that next role and into that type of role.
The process is more efficient, more responsible than traditional mining. We are helping build a future where growth doesn't come at the cost of the planet. Ames Copper Group is meeting this challenge head-on, delivering reliable, sustainable copper that keeps supply chains strong and supports the industry of tomorrow.
Okay, so what he said. So copper is a critical mineral and material. Federal government, that's two important classifications, Department of the Interior and Department of Energy. Basically, it says, hey, we recognize it, much like lithium or gold or silver or platinum or palladium. And it's critical to, security of the United States and long-term growth here in the United States. And it's tied to things like, AI, alternative energy, data centers, those kind of things are really driving that. It's easier to build data centers in the United States. It's faster. The next 10 years, we forecast that 85% of the world's computing power will come through the United States data centers, okay? One of the things I'd like to point out here, tariffs investing in America, tariffs have been largely favorable to what we're doing. This material had for the last 75 years left the United States and went to China, shut down foundries all around the United States. That has stopped, and that's really what's fueled the investment here in Cleveland County. One of the things I'm most proud of, and I think, the county, and you folks and everybody in here should be proud of, is 10% of the supply of the nation's copper come from our factory here in this county, right? That's a big deal, right? We ought to, everybody be proud of that. Average salary at the plant is in the top 75% in the region. That's up about 100% from, when I took over a few years ago. We're actively pursuing federal funding for further expansion in Cleveland County and in Washington, D.C. next week, meeting with Representative Harrigan from Catawba County and Representative Moore from this district. We continue to work, because it's classified as critical mineral and material, there's significant federal funding for our next levels of expansion there at the site, and we'll talk about it here shortly. We need state, county infrastructure improvements for continued growth, right? This is a kind of a busy slide, but what it's telling you is our parent company is Prime Materials Recovery, the upper left. They're based in Hartford, Connecticut. They're privately owned. All these companies around here basically are in the business of absorbing and gathering copper scrap. It comes to us here in Shelby, and then we process it. By the numbers, Ames Copper Group created 55 new jobs for the county. It's phase one. It's kind of an upside down U shape. The next phase is fill up the middle of that U shape and turn it into a large square building. And it'll be, instead of 400,000 pounds a day, it'll be 1.2 million pounds a day in about 2.5, 3 years from now. We've begun work with that. Hope Construction, a lot of local contractors. We've already started planning, developing the next phase of expansion there at the site. That's kind of a view. We've got one tilting furnace there now. We're going to go to a second tilting furnace, but it's almost twice as big. And then ultimately, long ranges, we need to get to a tank house. So an anode is only 99.5% pure. That's not clean enough to go in as a raw material for the IMC plants. It has to be 99.99. Currently, our anodes go to Canada. They get refined. They come back here. We're going to eliminate that step, put a tank house here. We'll be completely vertically integrated on the site here in the county. The IMC plant, we're up to 225 employees, 300,000 pounds of melt capacity a day in the one plant. The new plant's there to the right. It does 1.8 million pounds a day. So there's nearly 1 billion pounds of copper leaving that facility every year. And it goes into things like that. So, kind of an interesting factor is, we sell copper to the U.S. Mint, but we also sell it to the Canadian Mint. Canadian Mint makes currency for 40 other countries around the world. So there's a little bit of Cleveland County and billions of people's pockets around the world in the form of currency. Computer chips, connectors, the automotive industry, any place on a vehicle that's obviously plastic coated with chrome, there's a light layer of copper coated onto that before the chrome's put on there. Recent expansion, this is the ETP line, which is the bottom of the screen. One of the things we started in 2021 lobbying the state to do something with the old Bowling Springs Road, because we knew we were going to go from 50 trucks a week to 150 trucks a day. So we had the DOT in a number of times, at least 3 times. Every opportunity I get to speak to anyone, whether it be the Rotary Club, you folks, our representatives at state, federal level, I'm talking about the old Bowling Springs Road to the point they're ready probably for me to shut up about it. But we're building and growing faster than they can react. So what we did, if you'll allow me, we built what I call the racetrack. You can see the bottom of the screen is a new entry. The old entry was up here and it's in and out the same place. And we knew we couldn't handle the truck. So what we did is we built a 2-lane highway all the way around the plant. 2 skills on this side of the building, 2 skills on that side of the building. We can hold about 40 trucks off the road. But still with 150 trucks a day, as we saw just a few weeks ago, we had 3 days of pretty significant consternation out there on the highway. We've done a number of things. We're currently occupy about half the old Cleveland mill in Lawndale as a warehouse, as a storage space. So we're routing all flatbed trucks to that location. Flatbeds take the longest to unload and tend to back up the highway. So we're routing all those there to be unloaded, and we'll transfer those in the middle of the night with our trucks to avoid that. The other thing is we're partnered with our logistics company. They're called Max Trans. They're currently leasing the old drive-in theater right up 74 on the left and transforming that into a truck staging lot. And then the county, and working with Mr. Cotton here and you guys have, offered us a spot on 226 across where they're grinding the mulch to stage some trucks. So we got 3 options or 3 activities for overflow, and I think we'll do our very best, coming up in the future to try to keep trucks off the road. But again, we've got significant traction with Ted Alexander, Paul Scott, Mr. Hastings, to help us. They're committed to try to help us get some funding to get the road addressed. But as you folks know, that takes a long time to get that done. It's going to be considerable work. Has to be done with 74. There'll need to be a turning lane, expanded probably all the way to the creek down there, traffic lights, and at the whole time, we still got major middle school, high school, and I'm trying to run the business on the same road while construction's going on. So it will very likely get worse before it gets better. But we're obviously working very hard to address the issue. One of the things I'm most proud of, that I think it's important to get in front of you folks, to help me get it out to the rest of the county, is that we've given nearly $120,000 calendar year last year to a number of, schools. If you go to the Don Gibson Theater, you're going to see Ames and IMC in the backdrop. For those guys, they called me and said, hey, we've lost sponsorship from the hospital. We need some help. So we helped them. You guys can read it. We sponsor a handful of scholarships for seniors for Cleveland County Schools, Girl Scouts, a significant investment in Hurricane Helene relief, using our own trucks during that crisis to move material from here to Hickory Airport, Shelby Airport, that was then flown in by private aircraft into the mountains. So super proud of that, and the employees. Big sponsor of the Cleveland County Chamber, and we're really trying to be a good corporate citizen, reach out, support, give back. Not sit around here and ask you guys necessarily what you can do for me, but we're willing to give back and invest in the community and create jobs and try to be a good corporate citizen. So I think it's important for us to get that message out. You folks can help me get that message out. We'll continue to do that. And that's it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak.
Thank you for
I'll
being
take
here. If you've got just a
questions.
few minutes, I'll see if any the commissioners might have questions or comments for you. So we'll start with Tom.
Okay. Just a few comments, mainly. I've been out to the facility a couple of times, and ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing. It's an amazing facility. The slides are great, but they don't do it justice.
Yeah.
You really get in that property out there and see what's going on. And in all my years of being in business in Cleveland County, I haven't seen a facility like this put forth the effort to be that good citizen. Dane has really, really stepped up, as he showed you, to many organizations throughout Cleveland County that needed and continue to need help. I did also notice walking the plant, many happy employees. That speaks highly of you, sir. I didn't speak to anybody that didn't love their job.
That's good.
They were out there doing it because they wanted to do it. It was impressive to me, I know you said this, it's simply repeating it, that 10% of the copper of the entire United States is coming from right out there on that road. And if you just ride by, you would never have a single idea that that's going on in that property out there. And, I could go on and on and on, but basically I won't, other than to say, Cleveland County, we're certainly proud of you, proud of what you do, and we look forward to working with you for many years to come. We thank you for coming out tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I can't add too much to what he said, except I've seen the trucks out there, and it's obvious y'all got a lot going on, and we certainly appreciate the economic boost you give to the area, and I'm assuming after all this other stuff goes on, we might have 20% of the copper coming through here.
We're going to get as much as we can.
But we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
In my experience in the mining industry, I've been to the big copper mine out in the Midwest. I've been there several times, and they do a lot of smelting or molding, and it's amazing to see how it's processed, and just like you're showing how it's processed, that the U.S. does produce a lot of copper. And it's good that we got 10% coming from Cleveland County. And I don't have any idea how much they got coming from that mine. You probably know more about it than I do, but I remember going and seeing it. But they do a lot of theirs in rods
They do.
rather than plates.
The other two businesses turn it into rod, right? So when we get long-term, the first step is, we're urban miners, right? So instead of getting it out of the ground, so 85% of all the copper that's ever been put in service is still in service.
Yeah.
You can remelt it and remelt it for eternity. So basically, instead of us digging it out of the ground, we're bringing it in as copper scrap. It's much cleaner than coming out of the ground. The operation's cleaner. and we can process it much faster. So, yeah, that's kind of where we fit. We're the only ones in America doing that.
Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been actually, I go by there a lot, so I see a lot going on. But Metals America was on my FedEx route when I worked for FedEx, and I've been retired for a while. So I knew more was going on, but I didn't really know exactly what. And I'm up in that area a lot more than I used to be, so.
Stop in one day.
I
You won't
will.
recognize it.
Yeah, I will. I'd like to see it now.
Yeah, just let
Very
me know.
much. It's amazing. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Willis, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking time. Thank you for what you do in the community. Thank you for being a large part of the community. I would echo what others have said and many of the things that Tony said. I think David and I had a brief discussion on after our exit of your visit out there. We were impressed. There were some things we learned that we didn't know. Had an opportunity, I actually had an opportunity to visit with Hope Construction during the construction out there on 2 occasions. So I got to see the racetrack that you spoke about in that last building and what went into that. And then to see the end product and see what you guys do now, kind of capped all that out. We look forward to working with you, partner with you in other areas if we can. We're happy to do the lot on 226, or the area on 226 to help from overflow. Many of the things that we talked about at the meeting that day with you is underway. David's working with those to get you that other information. I won't go too deep into that tonight, but all those letters have been
Yep.
signed and sent on your behalf and your company's behalf, and we'll continue to advocate as a board, we'll continue to advocate for DOT and our local delegation, much as you have been already, to find a solution for the road out there. And if there's any area where you see that we can be of benefit, don't hesitate to reach out. And we'll gladly be proactive and get the attention that it deserves.
Thank you for that. I think as many voices, especially those in positions of authority, that can help us move that down the road. I mean, my greatest fear, and I've told the wife this 1,000 times, is I really do not want a terrible accident or something to happen there that stimulates action, right? I really think we need to take action before something happens instead of waiting for
They
something.
went out right. Good luck against it.
So thank you for the opportunity to come speak tonight.
Quite welcome. We'll have you back. Anybody else? All right, sir. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Drive
you.
safe.
Yep.
Next, we have the Catawba Nation Foundation and Christine Ubertia. Was I close?
Great. That's awesome.
Super fast.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. I was going to say, Dane was a hard act to follow. I've been out to Ames and IMC, and I have a beautiful piece of copper sitting in my office as a great paperweight from that visit. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. I'm Christina Rudia with the Catawba Nation Foundation, and I'm here to just tell you a little bit about what we're doing here in Cleveland County. Oops, all right, I'm going to work on this because it goes very fast, as Phyllis said. Okay. And I thought, I'm a new transplant to Cleveland County. I've just been here about 7 months. I was commuting from Chapel Hill for about a year, so I'm happy to be here. It's been a wonderful community to move to. And I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 3 kids. I'm an outdoor enthusiast, although there's something that needs to change in that first picture. In that picture, I only have 1 dog, but since meeting Commissioner Hardin and learning about care, I now have another puppy, and she's a sweet little pitty mix named Lola that's also at my house terrorizing right now. I'm a citizen of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. I love to be involved in my community, and since coming to Cleveland County, I'm already sitting on the board of the Earl Scruggs Center. I've just joined the board of the YMCA, and through the Cleveland County Chamber of Commerce, we've become members, but I'm also involved in leadership Cleveland County. And beyond my daytime job as the executive director for the Catawba Nation Foundation, I also have my own consulting firm working with small nonprofits across the state and actually across America. All right. In everything that I do, and this is tricky with this, okay. And Phyllis, I may have to, okay. Why is this not? All right. Phyllis, I might have to have you help move it along if you have a little, it seems a little tricky. Okay, thank you.
Just tell me next slide.
Okay. So if you could go to the third slide, please. Okay, perfect. So in everything I do, for me, my passion has to meet purpose. And so there has to be a lot of synergy in the work that I do and in my community involvement. So what has aligned me with the Catawba Nation Foundation and what drew me to the position is that I have a deep interest in community, conservation, education, and other things impacting economic development. And from there, you can see all the things that I've done in my life, and we can talk about that later. If you really want to know everything I've done in my career, please go to the next slide. So the Catawba Nation Foundation was founded as part of the Catawba Nation's Compact with the state of North Carolina in 2021. Our work is primarily funded from the proceeds generated by the Two Kings Casino, which is founded and started by the Catawba Nation. One thing I want to point out is that the Catawba Nation Foundation is a separate entity from the Catawba Nation, meaning that we are our own 501c3. So we are not under the umbrella of the Catawba Nation, but yet we do serve the Catawba Indian Nation. Next slide, please. Who do we fund? We fund the Catawba Nation, Cleveland County and adjacent counties, and the 8 tribes of North Carolina. Next slide, please. What do we fund? We fund educational advancement, cultural preservation, environmental conservation, and economic development. This past year in 2025, we were able to fund our first public grant application process in our first grant cycle. We did have a private by invitation grant cycle in 2024. I came on as the executive director in October of 2024. And since then, we've been really rocking and rolling, getting the foundation up and running to meet the full capacity and have large impact in the Cleveland County and in other areas of North Carolina. Last year, we received 81 grantee applications. 15 of those were from the Catawba Nation, 21 from North Carolina tribal organizations, and 45 were from the Cleveland County area. 53 recommended grantee organizations received grants from us. 12 went to the Catawba Nation, 20 to the North Carolina tribal organizations, and 21 to Cleveland County area, including Gaston, a few grant partners from Gaston, Mecklenburg, and Cabarrus County. That puts us at about a 65% grant acceptance rate, and the average rate in philanthropy is around 35%. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, next one. All right. So it's not just me.
Not just.
Okay, very finicky. All right. Last year, I can go ahead and start. There we go. Stop. Well, I think I know the numbers. Let's see. Okay, $5.3 million was the total request for last year. Our average gift was around $17,500. And we were able to give out last year $800,000 in our total giving. Go on to the next slide. In Cleveland County and adjacent counties, so those adjacent counties for us that we serve outside of Cleveland County is Gaston, Cabarrus, Mecklenburg, Rutherford, and Union County. We had $3.2 million in requests, and again, 21 of the 45 applications were funded. So just for Cleveland County, that's about a 47% funding rate, and that was totaling $240,000 dollars that was given back to the area. This is a list, and I will go ahead and read it, of the organizations that we supported in Cleveland County. And let me just tell you a little bit about the process, how we came to this decision. On our board of directors, which has representatives from Cleveland County, we have Commissioner Harden on our board of directors. We have Newton Craver. We have Omar Porter and Philip Glover representing Cleveland County on our board of directors. And honestly, it's been the best board I've ever had. So kudos to those board members that are from the Cleveland County area. Did I miss anybody? No?
You got it.
Okay. All right. And then we also have 6 folks from who are citizens of the Catawba Nation. We have one gentleman, former tribal chairman for the Lumbee tribe, Harvey Godwin, and then someone from Gaston County also on our board of directors. This year we decided we wanted to spread the love. We had fewer dollars than what we will have in 2026. In 2026, we expect to grow this amount at least if not double this amount. And we wanted to just kind of go with breadth instead of depth. So we shared a lot of organizations probably received less funding than they would have liked, but we wanted to build relationships with those organizations. So we gave to the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland County, the Broad River Community Market, and that is the photo that's right there to the right. The Catawba Lands Conservancy through the supporting the Carolina Thread Trail, Cleveland Community College, Cleveland County Arts Council, Cleveland County Schools Educational Foundation, Cleveland County Chamber, Cleveland Vocational Industries, Community Math Academy, and it can go on to the next list. The Davidson Association, and I did not know that Margot was going to be here this evening when I put 2 pictures of her up. Destination Cleveland County, particularly the Earl Scruggs Center, Habitat for Humanity in Cleveland County, Kings Mountain Historical Museum and Foundation, the Mount Calvary Community Builders, Piedmont Council, Scouting America, United Way of Cleveland County, and Washington Outreach Ministry. And as you can see, there's a picture up there with Reverend Francis Weber. The picture down on the right, I just wanted to point out, you probably recognize some of these faces. Emily Airy from the Hospice Foundation, Jordan Fry from Atrium and the Health Foundation, Rhonda Dean from Foundation of Carolinas, Margot Planck from the Albemarle Foundation, Amanda Craig back there from, why am I forgetting the name of her foundation? Dover Foundation, and then me in the back. We have come together with, really spearheaded by Emily and Amanda as leading foundations in the community, and are working together on a regular basis to bring education to our nonprofits, and also think of creative ways in which we can pool our resources to make greater impact throughout the county. Okay. Our 2020, we are just starting our 2026 grant cycle here in Cleveland County. Right now, folks who received grants last year, they just got emails this week that their reports are due, and their reports are due March 31st. February 18th, we'll be holding a town hall Zoom at 12 p.m. So if you know anybody, reach out to me who might want to be on that town hall. So that is an informational session that we will be having to share about how to apply for a grant and the process using our system, how much we're giving out this year, all of those all of those things that you need to know in terms of applying for a grant. Another thing that we're going to be doing, we just hired our first finance director. Her name is Tina Cheney. She was the CFO for the Catawba Nation, and she has now come and is working for us. She was a huge hit at our Empower event that we did in collaboration as the CCPN network, the Cleveland County Philanthropic Network. And throughout the months of February and most of March, she is going to be giving live sessions and helping local nonprofits put together their budgets and really understand how to do their finances. And then our application portal, it opens March 1st. and it will be closing March 31st this year. And then awards will be given out in August, and folks will be notified throughout the summer whether or not they've received a grant from us. Next, okay. For those of you who know me, I really feel strongly that in unity there is strength. I know, and for me, my center is the Catawba Nation Foundation, but it is important that we work closely with everyone we serve. Again, for me, it's a privilege and an honor to not only serve Cleveland County, but the 8 tribal organizations, the 8 tribal nations and state recognized nations in North Carolina, the Catawba Nation, and then working alongside our partners at Two Kings Casino. And there is my information, if anyone wants to take a picture. And it is not December 5th, but anyway, do you have any questions?
Thank you. We'll start this way since Deb serves on the board.
Okay.
So Deb?
Great presentation. It's an honor to serve on that board, and not only do we have great members from the county, the whole board is amazing.
Yes.
And I think you're the glue that holds it together. And I appreciate what you do, and it's, like I said, it's one of the best things that I've been on. I really do enjoy it. I enjoy what we do. I think for people applying for grants, the one thing I noticed different, which really is to me a wonderful thing, and having a small nonprofit trying to get grants, you know, you get a form, you fill it out, you send it in, and you go, oh, please, you know, you just hope. But you guys go back through it. You know, you help the people. Like we had grants that came in that left their budgets off or left, you know, part of the things off. But instead of just saying, oh, it's not on there, you know, you went back to them and you tried to help them to where they could have a chance at getting a grant. You know, you didn't just exclude it because maybe they weren't sure how to do it because they were a smaller nonprofit than some that's, you know, has all the paperwork right there ready to pull. So, you know, I just think the foundation is a great thing all the way around. And I appreciate you very much. And the fact that you adopted a dog, and the fact that a couple more out there adopted dogs.
That's right. Yes. Well, thank you, Deb. I appreciate those comments. And, you know, as someone who's been in philanthropy for over 30 years, I've been on the other side of the table. And so for me, you know, I want to make applying for a grant as accessible as possible. And, you know, it's just an opportunity for us to engage and grow our nonprofit leaders here and give them the most information and education that we can possible. Because if they can come up with a great grant and they can get their budgets right with us, then they can go and apply for other grants at other foundations and be better off with the knowledge they've received.
John?
Appreciate y'all being there and the grants y'all give out to Cleveland County. Just like I say, with the different organizations and looking at it, I know they appreciate it. And it's a major milestone to help them, like you say, that they can move on and do different things, and I appreciate y'all very much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I
you.
just echo what's already been said and appreciate it. It's all the organizations you're helping, helping children and hungry people and just, you know, the government can't do it all. And it's just great that people like you can come in and help these nonprofits, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a couple of quick notes. You guys have covered the majority of it, but Christine, thank you for being here, for starters, okay? And I've mentioned several times that what I see in you is a very dedicated and a very professional leader, and doing a fantastic job. And I've made a couple of notes as you were speaking. Another thing that kind of sat with me was your passion and purpose together.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have both. You got to have a passion. You got to have a purpose and act on it. The economic development piece is important to everyone in this room, and the fact that what you guys do there is very important. Your grant work is kind of amazing. When I look at the list, and I look at the people that you guys are helping, you know, that's amazing. We're certainly glad that Cleveland County is a portion of that. and we appreciate that very, very much. Just keep up the good work and let us know any way we can help you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Again, reach out to me. Commissioner Harden has all of my information. I believe the rest of you do. You may as well. I know that Phyllis has it. So the clock is a ticking and grant applications are getting ready to be opened. So send folks our way. Thank you so much. I
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Appreciate you being here. All right, Commissioner, next item on the agenda is public comment. We had no one to sign up, is that correct?
Correct.
So if that's all right. Jonathan will forego the paragraph.
Yes.
Next item is the consent agenda. So we've all been presented a consent agenda as part of our packets. We've all had an opportunity to review that. If there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimous. Next, we have a public hearing tonight. This is Planning Department Case 26-01. I'll talk more about that in a second, but this time, Madam Clerk.
After the public hearing has been opened, citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order in which they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin the remarks by stating their name and address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. A public hearing is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. All comments from the speaker shall be directly related to the subject of the public hearing. Each speaker is allotted 5 minutes to address the board. A speaker is not permitted to share, reserve, or relinquish any remaining time allocated to them to another speaker.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. As previously mentioned, Planning Department Case 26-01. This is a request to rezone 109 Catalina Court from restricted residential to rural residential. This time I recognize Chris Martin, County's Planning Director.
Thank you, Chairman Board.
For your consideration this evening, we have a request from a property owner to change the zoning district of a single parcel. It's parcel 5023. Property owner is Mr. Michael Myers. He's here with us tonight. And location is at Catalina Court, which is a private road that extends off of Biggers Lake Road, just east of the town of Patterson Springs. Property is about 4 acres and 3/4. And what he's asking for your consideration of is to change it from the restricted residential zoning district to the rural residential zoning district. And the difference between those two districts are that the restricted district is our most restricted type of zoning district. Requires half-acre minimum lot size, and the uses are pretty limited to really just single-family homes and modular homes. And then, of course, agriculture, which is exempt from any zoning district. The requested district that he's asking for, the minimum lot size is greater. It's 1 acre. However, the uses are more flexible. So you can have single-family homes. You can have the manufactured homes. You can perform agriculture uses on a property, but you can also use it for some non-residential uses, such as storage, buildings, garages, and then RV parks, and then rural agriculture supporting commercial uses as well. So this property along Biggers Lake Road, you can see we have it highlighted in red. It's 4.5 acres, and you can see that it's surrounded by some other large tracts of land. You also see some smaller parcels around 1 acre apiece where there's a single family residence. And then here I've got a photo from the Google car ride that really just gives you a picture of the character of this area. And I think it's a pretty traditional rural residential style area in Cleveland County. And I'll point out the parcel, the subject parcel is this corner lot here where my cursor is. Zoning districts in this area. So the yellow color represents the restricted residential. The white shows across the road, shows the regular residential. And then the requested district would be rural residential. So that would be a third type of residential zoning district in this area. Our future land use plan, it's required that we always acknowledge it. This area we show as secondary growth. It's expected to retain a rural character, and it promotes residential uses and commercial uses where it makes sense, mainly along highways and intersections. And I'll give you a broader picture of our land use plan, but the parcel in question is where the red star is, just east of Patterson Springs, and then this lighter green color is that broader secondary growth area that I just described. We shared this item with the planning board, and they recommended approval. They noted that it's consistent with the land use plan's secondary growth area, and it would help retain that rural character. And they also commented that the proposed zoning district seemed compatible with the properties around it. And so tonight, we're asking this board to hold a public hearing and consider any comments that you hear, your land use plan's vision, and your planning board's recommendation. And then you may approve or deny the request. And I can answer any questions.
Does the board have any questions of Chris at this time? All right, so if not, we'll declare the public hearing open, and we have one citizen that wish to speak. Mr. Myers, Michael Myers.
Hey, I'm Michael Myers. I live at 101 Catalina Court in Shelby, which is directly across from this land. I bought this land several years ago. The only thing I'm requesting is the opportunity to change the rezoning. And I appreciate y'all taking that into consideration. It just gives me the ability to possibly put something on it as far as storage, and, you know, as far as the storage building. That's the only thing I'm looking for. I'm not looking at any of the other uses for that plant. So I would like for y'all to consider that, and I do appreciate y'all's time tonight.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that, that's the only speaker that signed up to speak, so with that, we'll now declare the public hearing closed. So, Chris, can you put that slide back up? All right, so we've done the first part. So does the board have any comments or questions of Chris?
I don't
Is there any general discussion?
I would just like to say, if that nobody has any questions, that it's another place that was on my FedEx route back in the day. And it fits in perfectly as far as I'm concerned, the way that it's laid out there. It's not like house. It's kind of spread out with some land in between. And if nobody has any objections, I would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second that if no one has any objection.
All right, we have a motion second to approve the application. Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Chris. Good luck, Michael. All right, next item is Sanitary District Board. At this time, I recognize the County Attorney, Jonathan Sink.
Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We'll try to make this quick and PowerPoint presentation lists. Thought about throwing some flow charts and statues at you, just not necessary. I'm going to explain what's before you, why it's before you, and the action step that's to be taken tonight. As I think everybody on this board and beyond knows, a Cleveland County legend, and Don Melton passed away back in mid-October. I believe it was the 18th of October, and that was leading up to, as y'all know, he was on the ballot, had been serving for 20 years, 2 decades, I believe, on that water board. And the election, the general election, that off-year cycle was on November 4th, that first Tuesday. And so he passes away out of this world, at least, on the 18th of October. The election's on the 4th of November, and between that and November 14th, you've got the attorney for the water board, me, the state of North Carolina Board of Elections, and our local board here of elections talking about, wow, what an interesting timeline factually to have to, put the pieces together on what to do and who does what when. So, in a nutshell, fast forward to November 14th, 10 days after the election, you've got our local Board of Elections who properly declared that seat vacant, because obviously if you've passed on, you can't serve, to state the obvious. So they officially declared that a vacant seat on the 14th. Go forward a few months to just a few weeks ago, really, when we were sent to Chairman Gordon a letter from their chairman of the Water Board confirming that, hey, we have made a recommendation. We have recommended that Mr. Dewey Cook, having solicited for names, qualifications of folks who are interested in filling that declared vacancy, they received 4 letters of interest, and it was unanimously voted upon by the Water Board to recommend to you all, this board, to appoint, because it is technically still a board appointment. And I want to press pause because I think it's important that we all know, especially folks watching, know that our water board, our sanitary district here, is an independent board. It has its own sovereign authority, as I think you all know for sure, but just to make sure folks watching at home and here in person understand, they run on their own ballots, alongside other candidates. So Mr. Melton did win, even though he was not still with us. And so the water board, the Board of Elections, was kind of in this predicament of what do we do? So we all got together, the state agreed, the locals agreed, council, not just for us and me, but for the water board agreed, hey, they're going to recommend it. This is their board. They're going to recommend a candidate to us, to you all, the Board of Commissioners, to appoint. And that's how we got here tonight. I would just briefly reference for those who care and are watching that this comes from reading 2 statutes in tandem. That's in Chapter 163 and then 130A. Without making this into a law school forum, we don't need that, but that is why you, as the county commission's involved tonight. So it's technically your appointment, but upon recommendation from that independent and sovereign water board, our sanitary district. Thank you.
Let's be clear, the appointment comes, the appointment statute places the appointment. That's what-
It does, and that's where you get into Chapter 130A. Yes, sir. Yield for questions, of course.
So,
Any other
does the board
ones?
have any questions of Jonathan?
So do we just make a motion and vote on it, basically?
That's what you would do, since it's a
Yes,
recommendation.
from the water board or the sanitary district is Dewey Cook, okay?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Dewey Cook.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, will say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Jonathan. All right, next we have a few board appointments. So first, looks like we're going to Board of Adjustment.
Yes, sir.
Get my right.
Commissioners, you have the list of board appointments in front of you. Our first is the Board of Adjustment. You have the list of applicants. At this time, you will need to appoint 3 people as sitting members and appoint 2 people as alternates for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2028. And Planning Director Chris Martin is here for any questions.
Anybody have questions, Chris? All right, is there a recommendation?
Can we do them all at once?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to suggest Woody Edwards, Judith Proctor, I don't know why I want to call her Parker Proctor, and Leon Martin, and then Dobbin Vladimore as an alternate. Or do we have another alternate?
Is there a second to that?
Second that.
Any discussion? Or any other nominations? All right, hearing none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries unanimous. So we have one more, which is the planning board.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, you have the list of applicants in front of you. At this time, you will need to appoint 3 people to serve a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2028. And Chris Martin is here for any questions.
Okay, I would suggest Clinton Cook, David Caldwell, and Jason Lowry.
Is there a second to that? Any discussion? Any other appointments? Or any other nominations, I should say? I hear none, all in favor will say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries unanimous as well. So I'll start at the end. We'll do it this way. Staff, you got anything for you guys? All right, board members, anybody have any comments?
I'd just like to thank everybody for keeping the county safe during the 2 storms we've had. It's been pretty rough on our fire department, first responders, sheriff's department. Everybody's did a great job, and I don't think we had any major disasters. We did lose a barn and a few animals, I'm afraid, but just appreciate everything everybody's done.
I guess I got a comment. In reading Facebook, I don't have a whole lot of friends in Facebook, but it seems like some of the candidates that's out there is talking about cutting taxes by 4 cents. But I don't think that they realize how much money they're talking about 4 cents. And I got the discussion with some of the candidates for the school board, and their thought was, well, the commissioners can pick and choose where they cut the money, and they don't have to cut it from the school or whatever. But my comment was, if it was left up to me, I would start in the event that the commissioners chose to cut taxes, we would cut it overall, the same amount for every department, where it's the college, the school, the library, or whatever, but the same percentage cut would be cut by everybody. And some of them didn't like it. They thought we could pick and choose and take it from one department and give to the other department. So I just wanted to make that comment that most of the people that are talking about making 3 and 4 cent tax cut don't realize how much it would mean and how much it would be to a department.
Anybody else? Well, I'm not gonna make a comment about what candidates might or might not have said. I do have a few points I'd like to make, because I had a few phone calls as well. So one, let me read this to you guys. So first of all, North Carolina law, chapter 159, article 3, which is known as the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, says that we must have a balanced budget. So I had a couple phone calls in the past couple of weeks about questioning whether the county had a balanced budget or not. So let me read you an excerpt of this law, which all counties in the state and all towns and cities in the state must follow. So the very first sentence in 159-8, which is titled the Annual Balanced Budget Ordinance, says each local government and public authority shall operate under an annual balanced budget ordinance adopted and administrated in accordance with this article. So I won't bore you with the rest of the general statute, but I would ask that the county manager explain the balanced budget process, why the county has a balanced budget, and what the repercussions are if a local government did not have a balanced budget.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Everything pivots on the balanced budget, everything from setting the tax rate to funding all of the departmental services that we provide, the external agencies that we provide in the community, the school, the community college. So it impacts all those services, and what would happen is if we attempted to move into a new fiscal year without a balanced budget, the Local Government Commission, which is a division within the State Treasurer's Office, would informally reach out to us, direct the board and county staff to present a balanced budget. If we didn't satisfy that, then there would be a formal follow-up, and still not satisfied, then they would actually send personnel from Raleigh to balance our budget for us with the tax rate and direct us to operate within those confines and supervise us for a certain number of years. Generally, when the LGC comes in and takes over a organization's finances, they track you for 7 years. So a balanced budget is paramount in all functions, from debt service to paying personnel to providing services, pivot on this particular statute.
Another point I'd like to make is the county's complete budget is about $240 million, right?
Yes, sir.
So the general fund equates to 194.6 million. And of that, your general tax and sales tax and other incomes make up that income for that budget. So there's been some discussion about county taxes as well. So the county tax rate, which is also set on an annual basis with the budget process, was 40.5 or 40.5 cents. And the county school tax was 14 cents. And the fire districts, for those you live in the rural part of the counties, was 7 cents. So 14 cents does go to the school district, but also an additional 4 cents roughly goes to the school district in addition to the 14 cents from the county's general government tax or general fund tax. So while many believe the county's funded off of 40.5 cents, the county government's actually funded off of 36.5 cents. 4% goes, 4 cents or dollars that equal 4 cents goes to the school system as well. So to make some semblance of what that means, so for the 14 cent, just the 14 cent alone compared to the 40.5 cents is about 34.6% of the county's general fund tax rate. And the county's general fund tax rate supports 26 departments. The additional $5.1 million that goes to the school system, funding for the community college, the county's portion of the community college fund, the court system, mental health, USDA, the Forestry Service, and a wide range of other community nonprofit agencies that we saw that was also funded up here as well tonight from outside. So that's where those amounts go to. As we're headed into the county's budget process, I think it is sound and wise as fiduciaries, David, as part of that, I'd like to see the following as part of your budget process. I'd like to see what the cost would be as far as reduction of services and impact to the county if 5% was cut out of the general fund budget. And I'd like to see also a scenario if 2.5% was cut out of the general fund budget. But at the same time, protect these things which are required. Some of them by statutory requirements are mandated by state law, and some that majority, if not all the members on this board have said from time to time that they protect and revere. So one, debt service. So for those of you watching and in the audience, the one thing that the county must pay before anything else is its debt. So when you run this scenario, David, of 5% across the general fund departments, 2.5%, I'm not saying 5 cents or 2.5 cents, I'm saying 5% of the total spending across the general fund departments, and a scenario of 2.5% across the general fund. But in this scenario, I'd like to see you protect debt service, which is a statutory mandate. I'd also like to see you protect, in that scenario, public safety funding, because we all want safe and prosperous communities. I'd also like to see you protect employee compensation, because we can't fulfill our mission without dedicated employees and be able to retain and recruit our best talent. And I'd also like to see you protect teacher supplements, and this part of teacher supplements that I'm speaking to, for those of you that are watching that may not understand, the teacher supplement is around 10% in this county. And the reason I say around, because I'm not up, is it 10%?
Yes.
So I believe the county funds about 4.5% of that. The county funds close to half of the teacher supplement, which is dedicated funding through these numbers that I referenced earlier. So with that as well is to teach or to protect teacher supplement that went in that scenario. So I'd like to see any reductions that you make at this 5% and 2.5% scenario does not include any cuts to debt service, public safety, employees compensation, and teacher supplement. Because we got to have our teachers. It's already hard on them to train and retain and recruit teachers. There's some teachers in the audience, so they know what I'm talking about as far as what they do on day to day. And if we can't train and educate our children, then, right, we got a tough deal. So with that also, if you could also, I think you're already doing some of these, if I understand. Look at any internal audits on things such as vehicles, cell phone, office phones, any other things that sometimes easily, kind of sneak in on a municipal budget and is funded year over year and not necessarily used. For example, if somebody has a cell phone and an office phone, do they really need both? If their work's in the field the majority of the time. So that's just an example. Computers can be the same thing. They can be a drag on the budget. Informational technology systems that are not used, we might be paying license on. Can you look at those? And can you also look at the fleet vehicle audit? Or do we have vehicles that are actually, do we have more vehicles that are needed or just sitting there? Can we scrub those because those two cost, and then sometimes they just keep migrating in the budget year over year as being replaced, and they may not necessarily be needed. Anybody else have any comments?
I got one more. I would like to know, and the county manager can answer it, say for a 1 cent cut, what's the dollar value that, and what the dollar value would be if they had a 4 cent cut?
Each penny equates to 1.4 million. So 4 pennies would be 5.8 million. 5.6, yeah, correction.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. On our agenda for tonight, I did not see any discussion that we were going to have about budgets and taxes and et cetera. Therefore, I had no time to prepare for any of this to respond to the public in the ways that I would like to respond. Why did this come up and not be on the agenda?
So it was under comment. I didn't ask for the board to sign. You can ask me anything that you want at any time.
Yes, I brought it out in comment because the other night at the forum, it was highly talked
I wasn't
about.
at the forum, so I don't know if I'm sitting
Yeah,
there.
it was highly talked about, and then I was cornered afterwards. So I'd made up my mind that I was gonna bring it out to let the public know, hey,
Administrator before we brought out, but I'll just
Well-
take a step forward. I'm done.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, we're at the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?